Hey guys, I'm here to do a response video because I thought that even though I'm doing a video every day, I'm going to make another one today. And I'm here with my friend, my lovely Penny, who just loves to show people her butthole on camera. Okay. Say hello. Hello. Okay, so I'm basically going to talk to you guys about the tips and tricks I would suggest, or maybe just tips I guess, for how I get back into my writing after either I've written a scene that was just amazing and I am feeling a bit lackluster when I start the next scene, or I've actually just, finished a scene. I have to go somewhere, maybe to have dinner with my partner, and I have to come back into it. And sometimes that can be really hard. Sometimes Penny can be really irritating. My number one suggestion, well, not my number one, but one of my suggestions, if you actually have an animal, this has happened me a lot of times. Sometimes all you have to do is knock your notebook off the table by a cat. Basically, pat a cat. If you have an animal in your house, one of the best ways to get back into writing is to kind of be one with something that is not, I guess it's not a novel and it's not in your, that doesn't need a lot of attention, so, or sometimes I do. But in the case of Penny, whenever I am struggling to write, I always go, or get back into the scene that I'm working on, I always go out into the house and I try and find Penny and see what she's doing, and I kind of sit with her for a couple of minutes and I talk to her about my novel if she wants to listen. Sometimes she doesn't want to listen at all. And yeah, I just sort of sit there and I say, what would you think could happen next? And especially if you're by yourself and you have pets, they're not going to answer you back, are they? But it's a really good way to sort of relax because you're patting the cat or you're talking to your animal and you're kind of, thinking about your novel but you're not right there. And like the amount of times that I have done that, taken that like 5 minutes away from my novel and come back to it with fresh ideas just from having that sort of moment to react with my pet and to talk to someone who's not going to talk back. It's really helpful, and it might not work for everyone because everyone might not have a pet, but she's licking her toes. But it definitely works for me. That's delightful, darling. The second thing I would suggest, and it is again unwriting related, is when you're struggling to get back into writing again, go and do some chores around the house. I say this for two reasons. For one, if you are doing things that involve water, it is said that creativity comes through water. That is what I've learned, that is what I've practiced a lot of the time, and for me it works really well, and I've heard a lot of other people say it too. When you're around water, it has sort of this creative element to it. So it's kind of like, when you drink tea or coffee, or you kind of get that sort of creative juices flowing. So if you have dishes that are piling up, or if you need to go and have a shower or something like that, I would really suggest that when you're struggling with your writing, to go take that 5-10 minutes out of your day, out of your writing life, to go and do something that's not writing related, but where you're still busy with your hands or busy doing something else. And yeah, just try it, see how it goes, because you may not have the strongest experience, but while you're doing something with the flowing with the water and cleaning up and doing things like that, that's when your brain is able to relax a lot more because you're not in that space. So when you go back to your writing, you'll probably, even if you've only got a small jumping point to go off, that's a really good jumping point. I speak from experience because this happened this morning. I was struggling and I woke up and I did some dishes, and while I was doing the dishes I was thinking about my novel, and I was thinking about where to go with it next, because I'm really struggling with these two characters that I'm writing about. And it was while just doing the dishes and not really thinking too much afterwards that all these ideas came to me, because I was relaxing my brain. And now I have a good half a receipt. I wrote it on the back of the receipt. A receipt to sort of have a jumping point. So next thing you know, I've had ideas come to me while I'm on the toilet. I've had ideas come to me when I'm on the shower. I've had ideas when I've been watering the garden, or near any water source is a great source. And I think I'm gonna say try it. Go out and try it, and let me know how it goes for you. Tell me if you don't feel like you want to write down all these ideas while you're in the shower, or while you're, going to the toilet, or while you're doing something water related. So go and do some chores like that, and then come back to your writing with some fresh ideas. If that doesn't work, then I suggest brainstorming. I suggest you spend 5 to 10 minutes before you're writing, and this is very important, because if you do want to get back into your writing, then you need something to jumpstart you, right? So I don't think brainstorming, mind mapping, or visual stimulants are a bad thing. I think they can only further your writing abilities, and I guess in a way prompt you to start writing again, getting back into your story. I've gone into brainstorming and mind mapping before, but I tried something the other day that I don't usually do, which is drawing. And I was struggling a bit to kind of see where my characters were going. And it really helped to just draw them. And I know it sounds weird, but you can just draw them as stick figures or anything else. I'm going to bob down a second because Penny knocked my book off the thing. My desk. I'm wearing my pajamas. So I was really struggling and I wanted to get back into my writing. So I ended up just getting a piece of post-it note, and I just started drawing. And I'm not the best drawer, I really suck at drawing, but I kind of just drew my characters and drew their faces and expressions and sort of what they look like, and then I just sort of felt like I wanted to draw a town and everything like that, and sort of flesh it out visually. And that really worked for me, and that got me back into writing. So if you're kind of creative like that, that's a good way to do it. Also, you can use visual stimulants to focus. These are much like prompts, but they're picture prompts. So for me, one of the parts of my novel is that my character has a journal. So I kind of spent 5 minutes creating this journal, and it could be pictures that you've picked up the computer or something like that, and I've just sort of taken these little images, written things down that he would write down, and then I can use those as jumping points when I'm stuck in the novel. Also, they kind of remind me what the novel's about. Like there's a corpse under the bed, there's something under the bed pulling someone out, and then there's some invisible person in the bed, which relates to my story. So I can go back to this book and I can say, okay, so my character is, the case is involving a corpse under the bed, so therefore, what can I do? And this can relate back to my mapping and stuff as well. So that's a really good stimulant in jump-starting your writing again when you need to get back into it. And I think, one more, I've talked about this before, and it's something I stand by so strongly. It's write your mood. Write your mood. If you are stuck in a scene, go to another scene. If you are kind of struggling with your character, vent. Really, just vent and see how your character would feel in that situation. Put that person in a similar situation, or just write another scene that you can add or delete later on, but that character is facing something. For me, I've never driven a car before, so I'm not really that good at talking about cars, but I was feeling a bit melancholy, and I decided that instead of writing happy times, which I just wasn't in the mood to write happy times, I I worked on a scene where the characters were dealing with depressive issues, and that can sort of backfire as well, but I felt kind of released from that because I was writing it down, and even though it wasn't actually me, it was my character, I was able to work through that stress, work through that sort of nagging feeling behind me, and then I just jumped straight back into the scene that I was writing before, and it really helped clear my consciousness and things like that. So yeah, so that's my tips for getting back into writing. I thought I'd just share them with you. Those are some of the tips, and like I said, I've mentioned them before in my videos, but I thought I'd just make another video because I can, and hopefully those might spark some ideas if you haven't thought of those ideas before, or if they're in the back of your mind and I may have brought them back into focus and you can try and use them. So I know a lot of them are suggestions for not actually writing, but they are methods of getting you back into writing. So getting you back onto the page, getting you back into the story. These really work. So now Penny's gone and sat on the chair. Oh, you can't see. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys there. So bye guys, and happy writing.